News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. I want you to chime in right now. I will play this again. This is, and I looked up the word macabre. It is literally exactly what I was saying, that what this is. Let me read the definition because it's so... I looked it up and was talking to producer Garrett too. We have two Garretts here, Garrett the second. I told him, listen to this definition. It literally is exactly what this was. And if you're just joining us, there are two parents so far. One from Parkland, whose 17-year-old young young man, was murdered in Parkland. And the other is 10-year-old Uzziah Garcia, killed at Uvalde Elementary about more than a year and a half ago. And they gave their children's videos and voices over to a leftist Democrat anti-gun company that used AI to create from the grave calls of their children, shaming and blaming and attacking Republican congresspersons and senators and into voting to take away our gun rights, our constitutional rights. And they think somehow this would work, and I think it's absolutely repulsive. The word macabre means disturbing and horrifying because of involvement with or depiction of death and injury. So when you take somebody who's dead, a child, a 10-year-old and a 17-year-old, and you recreate their voices with AI to attack people and blame them for this, for these terrorist acts, it's just beyond disgusting. It's particularly macabre, as if they're clawing out of the dead from a grave and coming alive and like a zombie. It's just disgusting, honestly. It's like Pet Sematary to me. And so I'll read that definition again, because this is macabre, disturbing and horrifying because of involvement with or depiction of death and injury. And that's what this is. So here is the audio of both that was provided by ABC News. The parents are talking about this to the news publicly. It was released to the news, so they want us all to see this, and somehow they think we're going to be on their side. Are you? Are you on board with this? Our number is 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Why do you think they have to manipulate the truth to get us to give up our gun rights? And would you consider changing your mind if you got a fake AI call from a dead child killed by a maniac with a gun? 800-288-WBAP is our number. Lines wide open. Chime in right now. 800-288-9227. Here is this 17-year-old boy. And by the way, before I read this, let me share some more on this. The 17-year-old boy, Joaquin, in Parkland, his full voicemail says this. I'll play his part, and then I'll read what he says, the full voicemail. It's just really repulsive to me. Here we go. Here's an excerpt of it from ABC News.
I'm back today because my parents used AI to recreate my voice to call you. Other victims like me will be calling too.
Okay. He goes on in this call, his from the dead, quote, many students and teachers were murdered on Valentine's Day, 6 years earlier at Parkland, by a person using an AR-15, but you don't care. You never did. It's been 6 years and you've done nothing. I died that day in Parkland. My body was destroyed by a weapon of war. I'm back today because my parents used AI to recreate my voice to call you. Other victims like me will be calling too, again and again, to demand action. How many calls will it take for you to care? How many dead voices will you hear before you finally listen? Isn't this filthy? I mean, that's disgusting. The message even is almost as bad as what they're doing. It's really bad, actually. This is filthy. Let me play the young man. And what angers me is he's a 17-year-old boy. He's not mentally ill when he was alive like David Hogg was and still is right now. That crazy idiot who thought he could make a fake My Pillow company and take out Mike Lindell. Yeah, Chris, he couldn't take away this Mike Lindell from MyPillow.com. He couldn't knock out my pillow business. We're kicking ass, Chris. Exactly, Mike Lindell. MyPillow.com. And MySlippers.com. Chris, you have some of those. Yes, I do, Mike. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mike Lindell. Anyways, remember he tried to create that My Pillow adversary, anti-gun pillow company. It failed. It's gone because he's a fool. He's a loser. But here's another one. It says there was some reaction here. Critics accusing them of politicizing deaths. Quote, one person said on YouTube, they put words in a dead kid's mouth. If my father did this to me, I would haunt him for the rest of his life. This 17-year-old boy, that's what I was getting at. Listen to his pubescent young man's voice.
Back today because my parents used AI to recreate my voice to call you.
He sounds like a pretty cool dude. Probably the chicks liked him and stuff like that. Do you think he wants dad taking his voice when he's dead and doing this? He probably wouldn't want anything anti-gun. Probably doesn't give a frog's fag you-know-what. But I'll tell you what, I think this kid's right on YouTube. He probably would come back and haunt his dad and say, pull this crap, you idiot. How dare you? This is embarrassing. Remember how embarrassed you were at that age? I was. We all are. We don't want our parents showing us affection. Don't want to be dropped off in front of anybody by them. I love you. Goodbye. Oh, right. You think he wants this? No. And then 10-year-old Uzziah Garcia, whose dad is gone nuts with all of his speeches publicly at events are laced with profanities. He climbs over the White House fence and gets arrested for unfurling an anti-gun ban on the White House banner. And then a couple months later, he's there as a guest at the White House, and he screams at the president, and they threw him out. Yeah, and mentally unstable guy. So these are the kinds of people that are doing this. People who have not gotten help, mental health, and spiritual help. Here we go. Here's the young man's voice, the poor little 10-year-old boy, Uzziah Garcia.
Hi, this is Uzi Garcia. I'm a 4th grader at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. Or at least I was, when a man with an AR-15 came into my school and killed 18 of my classmates, 2 teachers, and me. What is it going to take for you to help make sure violence like this stops happening?
All right, that's just disgusting. 800-288-9227 is our number, 800-288-WBAP. Why do they got to manipulate the truth to get us to give up our gun rights? Why do you would you consider changing your mind on this if you got a fake call from an AI from a dead child killed by a maniac with a gun? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. I tweeted out the story. You got to follow me on Twitter at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show. To get the latest and read this story from ABC News. Now, coming up next, we have we're getting close to finality on the Kansas City Chiefs shooting. You will never hear from Joe Biden again about gun rights or taking away guns. You will never hear again from the Democrats. You will not hear from any supposed like groups that care about stopping guns being proliferated and used, because it appears to be African American and African American gang violence. That does not check the boxes for them. They want to call white supremacist J6 or Trumpers, racist white supremacists shooting and killing people. If it's the right category, they want to take away your guns. If it's not, they crab walk. You won't hear jack squat about this after this weekend. Nothing. And Joe will never say a damn word about it again. I'm going to read what they said, what they want to do, and now they're going to shut up because it's not the case they wish it was. So now they're saying these are not the droids you look for. It's just typical, progressive woke policies to get the thugs allowed to go out there and kill each other and shoot each other. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. Those guns are fine. Those are illegal guns on the streets. Minors illegally possessing them. Those are fine. We're not saying anything. That's not gun control. That is not crime. That is not a problem we need to address. It's not about gangs. It's not about fatherlessness. Nothing to see here. Move along. Never happened. You watch. It's over. That's next. Well. Chris Crock Show, 10:18 p.m. on a Friday night. on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. I love being with you every night, and I have been with you every night for 12 years. Before that, 2 years on our sister station, 5 feet from me, across the hallway there, KLIF, where I did afternoons first for 2 years. We're going to talk about the shooting at Kansas City, and this is the last time you will never hear about Kansas City Chiefs Parade and the horror of the shooting and the killing of the Hispanic DJ that was on a Spanish-speaking station. It was beloved, who has 2 children and a husband and just a beautiful young woman killed, because it is gang on gang, it appears. It is gang on gang, African-American on African-American, so nobody cares, unfortunately, in inner cities. Those folks are allowed to hurt each other, sell poison to each other, kill each other, and they keep getting out of jail, and nobody wants to help them. They want to ignore it and pretend like everything's fine. They're always looking for, on the Democrat level, like Quentin Lucas, the mayor of Kansas City. I used to fill in Kansas City fairly regularly for a couple of years, and so I got to know, not as in depth as if I did a show there regularly, but I got to learn the city is extremely leftist in the city itself, and the mayor's leftist. They defunded the police. The city council voted to defund the police by I think it was, let me see here, $42.3 million. And the vote was overturned somehow with probably outrage. The anti-police mayor, Quentin Lucas, then redirected. He then defunded the cops again with his executive powers as the mayor. $37 million of police funds to be used in a community policing fund controlled by his leftist city manager. Police budget cuts paired with district attorney who refuses to aggressively prosecute criminals results with a city with criminals running the streets. That is Kansas City. And that is why in the press conference a day or so ago, Quentin Lucas was asked, the mayor was asked, hey, are you going to still keep having parades anymore? And he said, absolutely. Gun shootings like this have happened at other parades. This is normal. This is Kansas City. Nobody should be shocked. And I think what you had is 1 million people reportedly there, supposedly. I don't know if it was that many, but you had people that are from rural and Missouri on the other side. It's not Missouri. I lived there, and I was a host there for a year in Middle Missouri for my first talk show job. But some say Missouri, some say Missouri. There's no right answer, but it's Missouri because I'm from Chicago, and that's how we pronounce it. And I'm always right. That's why I'm on the radio. And you're not. Just kidding. Joke. Funny. Stupid. All right. They didn't know all these details. They don't follow inner city Kansas City politics. If you live an hour or 2 or 3 outside of the city, if you live in Middle Missouri in Columbia or Jefferson City where I lived, if you live in Springfield, Missouri or Joplin, or if you live in St. Louis, or if you live in Wichita, Kansas, or if you live in blah, 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 Kansas, Topeka, they probably have an idea. But so this is not normal for normal people, but it's normal for inner city cesspool rot progressivism that has the soft bigotry of low expectations. And so Joe Biden came out and said a lot of stuff about this. He jumped on it. He tweeted out Kansas City, period. Atlanta, period. D.C., period. Today's 6 years since Parkland. Oh, there's another one he pulls. Acts of gun violence. Guns don't commit violence. I have several of them, including an AR-15. And the more people say stuff about this to try to take away our rights, the more AR-15s I'm buying, and more ammo I'm buying, and the more handguns I'm buying for everything. Because you'll never take my schnizzle away from me. If you try to show up, try to break into my house and take it, or at gunpoint, good luck. That's why we live in Texas. I don't live in these my home state of Illinois. It's filthy now from as far as how they run things. But he writes, Kansas City, D.C., Atlanta, today's 6 years since Parkland. Acts of gun violence cut deep in the American soul. Not a Dr. Jill and I pray for these kids and for those killed and injured today, and for our country to find the resolve to end the senseless epidemic of gun violence tearing us at the seams. Okay, Joe, are you going to go to Kansas City now and put the feds down there and start locking people up that are killing each other from gangland shootings, which this is now reported to be? Here we go. My friend Eric Erickson, who Rush has quoted for decades before he passed, a long gun was never used in the Kansas City shooting. In fact, the vast majority of all shootings, I've told you this before, including one in Kansas City, are done with handguns. The senseless violence was not an act of white nationalists or domestic terrorists, but of gang members with pre-existing rap sheets who should already be in jail. Second of all, the leftists said this, one of them with hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter, a woman called Charlotte Clymer, whose profile has a Ukraine flag. There you go. Gun laws in Missouri. No background checks for private sales. No permit required for concealed carry. No permit required for open carry. No license required for owners. No firearm registration. No assault weapon law. No magazine capacity restriction. Well, idiot, there were no AKs or ARs. There were no magazine capacity issues. It was two gangland people shooting each other with long rap sheets, and they're minors and unlawfully possessing a gun. They're illegally possessing it. So go after the minor gangbangers and back off of us. We're the ones protecting you from garbage like this. You fool, you twit. Go take away your friends' guns and your relatives' guns. See how that goes. Get out of here. Go pound sand, you twit. Now, we have more intel today from the Wall Street Journal. 2 juveniles charged in connection with Kansas City Chiefs rally shooting. Here we go. Officials in Jackson County, which includes most of Kansas City, charged 2 juveniles in connection with the shooting at the Super Bowl, and they killed 1 person and wounded 22. The youths were charged with gun-related and resisting arrest charges. Additional charges expected. They were charged with the Office of Juvenile Officer, a position that would be considered a prosecutor in the adult judicial system. They're currently detained. It couldn't be determined how old they are. Though we do not oversee or supervise juvenile offenders, the prosecutor said we will work closely with them. The preliminary findings indicate shooting had no link to terrorism or homegrown violent extremism. Darn it! Instead, stemming from a personal dispute, gangland dispute, guys. They recovered several firearms, few details about the weapons used. Some detainments could result in future charges unrelated to the shooting. No one who is believed to be involved in the shooting has been released. So what you have is 2 thugs that are teenage gangland people. And there's a witness to this who was shot. He was shot and broke his metatarsal bones. I'm going to tell you the rest next, but what he says confirms that this was a grudge between them, probably a gangland grudge. I'll tell you about that in a second. I want to hear from you, though. Do you predict that the White House, the Democrats, and the media go silent on this shooting by this weekend on this, and you never hear from it again? Is it because it doesn't fit their narrative? And if this is all gang and crime related as it appears, do you predict the president and the leftists will stop mentioning the shooting immediately since it doesn't fit their narratives? If so, what does that tell you about these gun grabbers? I want to hear from you right now at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Remember how angry Biden and all the leftists were at this shooting of the Kansas City Chiefs, blaming guns guns as if they create violence or something and trying to take away our rights? Well, it appears it's 2 gangbangers with long rap sheets, juveniles who have no ability to buy a gun or possess a gun, with long rap sheets who, are reportedly, let's see here, let me see here where I go, gang members with pre-existing rap sheets that should already be in jail. But because of the woke city of Kansas City, its mayor and its city council who defunded the police and all their social justice, this is what happens. And it's happened at other parades. And the mayor acknowledged that and used that as his reason for why he will not stop parades, because it's happened before. So this is part of their lives there. And then Joe doesn't know that. He doesn't care. He wants to take away our guns. He wants to get more power and win more votes by scaring people from bad people like us, right? We're bad people. We support Orange Man, many of us. We're bad. One last thing, then we're going to go to Jay Arthur in Dallas. You're on hold. We'll be right next to you in about 30 seconds at 800-288-WBAP. I want your reaction too at 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Do you predict the White House Dems and media go silent by the weekend on this? Is it because it doesn't fit their narrative? Is it because all this gang and crime related? And do you predict the president and the leftists will stop mentioning this shooting forever since it doesn't fit their narrative like they always do? And if so, what does that tell you about these gun grabbers? What does that tell you? Last but not least, shooting survivor Jacob Gooch Sr. told fake news CNN, told fake news CBS Gayle King that he was shot in the ankle. He overheard an altercation prior to the mass shooting following the parade. Before the gunfire started, he heard a woman right by him tell a presumed shooter, "I don't do it, not here, this is stupid." Gooch and his wife and daughter then saw a gun being drawn. My daughter said that some lady was just holding him back, he said, and then people started backing up, and then he pulled it out, and he just started shooting and spinning in a circle. He said he and his wife and his son were all shot. He said his wife was shot in the calf. He was shot in the ankle and sustained breaks to a few metatarsal bones in his foot. So that's your one of your big clues that came out yesterday, that this is a gangland shooting, and that he saw one of his gang enemies, most likely, and he was with his girlfriend or baby mama, whatever, and she was like, "Oh yeah, kill him, but not here right now. But this is use cameras. There's a massive amount of people. Here's not the place to do it." So couldn't control himself like most gangbangers. Got a thug, and so there we are. That's what everything seems to be happening now. Let's go to Jay Arthur in Dallas. You're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Hey, Jay Arthur.
Hey, what's going on,
What's
man?
up?
Hey, this is what I think. As a matter of fact, this is what I know. These are young black men, and in the culture of young black men, it's always get back. If I do something to you, you do something to me. Now, the government, they'll try to fit this in their narrative, and that's fine. That's what they do.
Right.
But I will say this. If you look at the young black men now, if you look at a young black man and he dies, there's always a woman behind it. I guarantee you, it's always a woman.
Wait, if he dies, it's always a woman behind it?
Look, if it's street violence, it's always trying to impress somebody, or he maybe talked to his girl or something like that, or like you just said, she told him to do something to these people, but not here. But man, it's a never ending story. I mean, it's the young black men just. We need to get help, man. We need help. And it's going to start with just the black leaders coming together, getting all this together and just making some kind of resolution. And
they're not. You got these race hustlers like Al Sharpton the other day saying that we got to take away guns. We got to take away guns. It's like, what are you talking about? How about helping to stop fatherlessness? Because it doesn't matter what your color is. If you don't have a daddy in the home, you're not going to succeed. It's wildly bad with the statistics. So why wouldn't we want to mentor, uplift, and care for our youth who are fatherless? Because when you don't have a father in the home, you feel rejected, you feel self-hatred and disrespect, and that would be for anybody of any color. And it's racist to not treat young black men and young black youth like we would treat a young white person. The same thing. We need daddies. We all do. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, they just need help. I mean, young black men, we need help. My father was there. I mean, I have a stepson. I'm there for him.
Good.
And so, I mean, I'm teaching him, molding him.
Good.
Right thing, wrong thing.
Good.
So, I mean, we just got to be there for the young youth. I'm 34. I mean, and rap music, by the way, it's not rap music. It's fueling everything. It's just that these young black men want to go do things just so they can put it in their rap music. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's not that rap music is bad or it's fueling it. It's just these young black men, they just eager to it's all social media driven.
Do you want that? Yes. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Just like the idiots, regardless of color, who die because they're doing a stupid challenge. They're inhaling something or whatever. It's like they're trying to impress or get more likes. Go ahead, though. You were going to say something else.
Exactly. And if they're not trying to impress their buddies, they're trying to impress the girl.
Yes.
It's always a girl behind this violence.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's like a fuel to the flame. It's that simple.
A strong man.
Yeah, they'll try to put it in the narrative. We all know that, but I mean, they're not in these cities and in the urban.
No, they're letting people kill each other.
And the feds know it. I mean, they know it.
They're calling it social justice to let you kill each other. It's like, what the hell? They don't care about these people.
They get so much money off each inmate, so it's like, why would they stop the senseless violence? They get so much money off each person.
What they need is what you and I provide for our children, is that you come alongside of them, you put your arm on them, and you say, that's really not healthy.
Exactly.
And you fill them with and discipline in a child, not bad discipline, but righteous discipline is love. And
I think they're going to get away with it. That's part of the reason they do it, too. But then they get locked up and then go to telling.
Just like the illegals.
We know how this goes.
Yes, just like the illegals from Venezuela. We're now finding out in New York City, they're from Tren de Aragua, which is the most notorious Venezuelan street gang. It's bad, bad, bad. They kill prostitutes that are competing with their prostitutes, for example. They do vile things. They kidnapped, home invaded, and murdered a man in Miami. They're in Miami established, according to the FBI today, I heard, and they're in Chicago established, and they're now in New York established. They're the worst, most terrifying gang in Venezuela, a state that has fallen and is a third world country, and they're terrified there. And they're also terrified in 3 other countries and running out of Colombia and 2 others. I can't recall the 2 others. So this is who we've invited in, and they're also doing that with them. They're not holding them accountable. And they're illegal. They call them migrants. They're illegals, and we all know it.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. So you agree that Joe Biden, who pretends to care about taking away our guns and gun violence, which is a lie and BS, and he's doing it for power and votes, but do you believe that Joe Biden will never bring this up again? And do you believe the Democrats and the gun grabbers will never bring this up again? With these people there, because now that they know it's 2 young black men shooting each other and killing people.
You may have a good point. I mean, there's nothing they could really influence the. I don't know.
They could do what Trump did. Surge federal prosecutors and federal police to go into the cities and put people that belong behind bars in bars that the woke leftist cities won't do, like Kansas City. Yeah,
I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, some of these men do need. I never want to wish jail on anybody, but I mean, some people need reform. You know, some people need to be reformed via jail. So, you know, I mean, I guess I know you don't, and I agree with you that it's a bad thing. But if you are literally unable to control yourself and you kill a woman who's innocent and 22 other people you hit, including 8 or 9 children, you don't belong on the streets. Right, exactly. You ever seen that movie Time to Kill with Samuel L. Jackson?
No, but I love Samuel L. Jackson. Maybe who's in it? Also beside him, what's the quick in a nutshell?
Somebody killed his daughter. I think raped his daughter, and he killed that particular man, like in court, like on his way to the court.
Oh, I didn't see this one.
So sometimes, and I hate to say killing is justified, but no, I can't.
Sometimes God uses people to enact His justice. Sometimes in violent ways. It just is what it is. Yeah. He told David to slay people, man, to mercilessly slay them and cut them down.
All through the Bible. You're right.
It depends on what's going on, and it doesn't even have to be right. But people are used as instruments, even the bad ones. Listen, you better, Jay Arthur. You're a fantastic caller. I really hope you continue to call. You're a great caller.
Man, appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
I'm glad I started listening, man. I appreciate
me too, friend.
The invitation. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. All right, take care.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
All right, you too.
That was great. Let's. What we're going to do is coming up next. I'm going to give you kind of a breakdown on the Joe Biden. Remember, he said how the hell that Robert Hur, the special prosecutor, bring up the fact that his son died and he couldn't remember the date. Well, we all now know that Joe Biden brought up his son's death and tried to use that as a date marker and couldn't remember it. Robert Hur did not. There's a lot of stuff that just happened. The president could get impeached over the way he's being handling this right now. I'm not kidding you. I'm going to tell you about that from constitutional scholar Jonathan Turley and a few little updates on this. This is very interesting how this is produced, opening up and moving, unfurling. This is the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make that a preset on your dial and engage. Call in and let's keep going. This is fantastic discussion tonight on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Chris Crock Show, and we'll get into that Biden stuff next. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. That was a great call. Appreciate his call and look forward to his next one because just really good to hear from him. I thought it was a fantastic call. Coming up next coming up right now, I should say, is Joe Biden's in trouble because he lied. He's either so his memory is so gone with early onset dementia or something like that, that he forgets that he was the one a couple months ago who brought up, when he had 2 days, he was being interviewed for his case for having illegally obtained over 300, we found out now, over 300 classified, top secret classified documents. As a vice president, he never was allowed to bring that outside of a SCIF, a secure compartment facility. Not even notes he takes in there. They all cannot leave there because it's top secret classified information. And then as a senator, he also stole a lot of documents, and it's stealing because they're not allowed, period, to leave a SCIF with it. The only person that can take out classified, top secret classified documents is the President of the United States. The only person that can take them with him after he's in office is the president. And Joe Biden stole them as a senator, which is extremely illegal. And Joe Biden stole them as a vice president, which is extremely illegal. There's no circumstances where anybody's allowed to take them out of a SCIF unless they're the president. So, and you can look at them and you can take notes, but the notes even cannot leave the SCIF. You have to throw them out and just they destroy them. They burn them in a burn bag or something. I don't know how they do that, but I know somebody who made a SCIF from the ground up with a budget of a couple million, I believe, and it was a long process. And they built one from scratch and headed the office that had that SCIF under one of our United States departments. The thing is here, Joe says he came out and he lied, or he doesn't remember. He blamed, when we found out that his son, he literally had no idea what year his son died. Like, he doesn't remember the year. And he said, how dare you bring that up to the prosecutor? How dare you put that in your report so that everybody can see that? It's none of your damn business, my son, this and that. Remember that? And then NBC News reported that two sources confirmed, and they reported this as official, that Joe Biden was the one who brought up his son's death and then brought up his son's date, trying to remember certain dates, and they couldn't remember when his son was born. It was him that brought it up, and it was him that couldn't remember it. Just like when he was talking about his son saying, how damn dare you, and he said, my son, I have this rosary I wear every day from Our Lady of, and then he had a dead silent pause for 4 seconds. He forgot the church. He brought it up, same thing, and literally couldn't remember what he was going to say, what the place was he was referencing on his own. He is slowly losing his memory and his cognitive abilities because he, according to many people that have said this, it looks like early onset dementia. It's a slow fade. He has no business being in the presidency. We all know this. So by him coming out and saying how the hell dare he raise that, constitutional law professor at George Washington University, Jonathan Turley, I'll just read a couple sentences from his column today, because he believes that Joe Biden can, you know how right now the House Republicans are doing an impeachment inquiry? They can add anything they want that's in the same vein, and they can add this, what I'm about to tell you. They can put this into their impeachment inquiry right now, and what he's done actually is an impeachable offense, according to this constitutional scholar at one of the top universities in the country, the world, a legal scholar, constitutional scholar. He says these coordinated campaigns. He's using the White House staff to carry out this disinformation campaign, lying that he's using his money in his office to lie about a federal prosecutor's report that says the reason why I'm not prosecuting Joe, he broke the law. He was willfully retaining top secret classified documents, which is highly illegal. And I was going to prosecute him, and he could be prosecuted for these 300 plus documents he stole. But because he's so old and so frail, and his memory is so bad, he literally would be incompetent to stand trial. A jury would find him incompetent, which means he cannot be the president because he's too incompetent, and which means Trump is on trial for the same thing because Trump is competent. Joe is not. It's a slam dunk now. Joe can't be president. Everybody knows it. So Joe is now having this White House staff to carry out a disinformation campaign and raised alleged violations of the public trust and misuse of federal staff and resources by creating a disinformation campaign about the federal prosecutor's report. That's illegal. That's impeachable, and he can be removed from office. It is a high crime and misdemeanor. He says the coordinated campaigns can also bootstrap earlier alleged violations into Biden's presidency. For example, the House is pursuing allegations of corruption stemming from Biden's time as vice president. and in the period in which he was a private citizen before running in 2016. Using federal personnel like he's doing right now. He's using the White House President's Counsel, Ian Sams, their spokesperson and legal White House legal guy. They're using him to spread or repeat false claims about the prosecutor's report saying he's senile and doesn't remember. He's using Ian Sams in that office to spread and repeat false claims and making allegations evergreen. By doing that, it makes the allegations evergreen that they're abusing these positions and misusing them to lie to the American people and do a misinformation campaign. By doing that, they can tie them into the contemporary in-office conduct investigations. In other words, he closes with this sentence. In other words, Jonathan Turley says the White House has to be careful that the effort to spin out of a scandal only results in spinning into an impeachment. It is an impeachable offense what he's doing. You cannot use your office to lie about a federal prosecutor and what he's done. So that is interesting. And the other thing is Joe has busted the White House Association, the president's, we call it the White House Correspondents Association, all the reporters. They're very liberal. They love Joe. They voted for him. They got him elected. They are reviled and angered by him. He sent a letter to all of them, in a way that's normally used to just communicate like stories. And when hey guys, we're going to have a pool over here. All you reporters come join us here for the next time. We're going to be available for an interview. They use that channel to send them a letter demanding they don't cover Joe Biden's, the report that says that he can't remember his own things and he's not competent to stand trial. He's demanding they stop this. And the very liberal reporter, Kelly O'Donnell from NBC, sent a message rejecting this and saying how bad it was and making it public. Busted.